14 years ago today, a small Virginia town was shaken when people learned of a horrifying tragedy on a local college campus.
It's a story senior reporter Wayne Colville covered and never forgot, just like the police investigators who are haunted by the crime to this very day.
It's something that you think about all the time.
Though in an unmarked grave, there are some who haven't forgotten.
Two twins were found at St. Paul College and never solved the murder.
This is where they laid him to rest.
And 14 years later, there are those who can't forget.
It was rough. One of the worst things I've seen.
What happened here inside this St. Paul's College dorm in the small town of Lawrenceville is hard to imagine.
They had been born alive and thrown down a trash chute.
And for those who work the case, the crime scene is a macabre memory.
It's one of those cases that a police officer has in his career that haunts him, and it still haunts me to the day.
You lie in bed at night thinking, what could I have done differently?
Police arrive at Holt Dorm on February 16, 1998, after one of the twins is discovered just inside these doors that lead to the bottom of the trash chute. A second infant is found a short time later.
I just couldn't believe that someone had thrown these two children away in this trash.
Up on the top floor, the hall and bathrooms look clean. Until investigators spray a chemical that reveals blood.
It was blood on the walls, down the staircase, going down the staircase, smears on the walls as if, somebody had leaned against a wall and was walking themselves down the staircase.
We found it in one of the bathroom stalls that the babies had been born in the stall.
What police don't find is the mother.
I figured that we would find her pretty quick at a doctor's office or a hospital somewhere close by.
I fully believed before that day was over with, we were going to have someone in custody. I fully believed that.
In fact, the mother is never found.
I think she was taken away from the scene.
And while police believe she had help in the birth and with cleanup, they find no one willing to come forward with information.
I know that someone in that dorm at that point, and that night and that day, heard something and saw something.
The twins are taken to the medical examiner's office in Richmond, where it is determined they were alive when they were born and killed before being dumped down the trash chute. As the days turn into weeks, the investigators realize this case could go unsolved, but they also realize they have another issue. That's what to do with the twins. It's at that moment that a veteran police officer decides he needs to get involved personally, and he makes his case to bring the twins back to Lawrenceville. Newcomb then talks to 3 funeral homes in the area about a service for the twins.
It was just the fact that they were babies and nobody wanted them. They threw them in the trash. And I just felt like someone needed to take care of them.
He wanted closure for these children just as much as anybody else living and breathing in the United States. And I think this was his way of giving them closure.
Exactly 1 month to the day the twins were discovered, a funeral is held for baby boy and baby girl. 3 local funeral homes and the town coming together to say goodbye.
There's no question that was a healing process for the town, although there were very few people in town involved, but it was a healing process for the ones that were involved.
While the crime scene is still fresh in the minds of those involved,
Just think about what it could have been.
there is one other memory that won't be forgotten.
They were perfect little babies.
Yeah, 9 months.
Yeah, they were perfect. I come out here on night shift probably once a month or so, or once every other month, and stop and just ponder to what had happened and what it could have been. They're just beautiful little children.
They want to have justice for those two babies.
think somebody needs to come forward.
I never lose faith that this case will be closed.
In Lawrenceville, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
After CBS 6 News began looking into this cold case, several people in town, including Williams Funeral Home, realized the twins' grave had remained unmarked all these years.
Just yesterday, though, that changed. Newsom Monument Company donated and installed this granite headstone for the baby boy and baby girl.
Those who were there yesterday say their names might not be known, but this will help keep the twins from being forgotten.
And police are still asking for tips. If you know anything about the case, call Lawrenceville Crime Solvers. That number, 434-848-2336.
CBS 6 News at 5 begins with breaking news in a murder case that went unsolved for more than a decade. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Julie Bragg. For 15 years, police have been haunted, trying to find the person who tossed newborn twins down a trash chute on a local college campus.
Well, tonight, officers have finally made an arrest. CBS 6 senior reporter Wayne Koval is live now to tell us who has been charged with this crime. It's a story you will only see right here on CBS 6. Wayne?
Lorenzo and Julie, after 15 years, an unsolved double murder at St. Paul's College here in Lawrenceville, police say has been solved. An arrest made just hours ago in Henrico County. Back on February 16, 1998, Lawrenceville police were called to St. Paul's College, where the body of a newborn baby was discovered in the Holt dormitory trash chute. During their investigation, a second body is discovered. The medical examiner determines the twin boy and girl were born alive and killed before being dumped down the trash chute. Police determined they were born in a top floor bathroom, and the bathroom and hallway cleaned in an attempt to cover up the crime. Last year, CBS 6 featured the cold case, and tips led police to Darnisha Paulita Berry of Henrico County. A June 25th grand jury in Lawrenceville indicted Berry on 2 counts of first-degree murder.
It's a relief for us. It's a big relief for this town. After this aired, we received calls and we received a lot of emotion, you know, that was going on, and a lot of people really didn't have any clue that the case was still going on. There's still an ongoing case.
Now, Darnisha Paulita Berry is being held in the Heron Regional Jail. She's being held without bond on, again, 2 counts of first-degree murder. Police say their investigation is still not over. There might be more charges and more people involved. We'll have more on this story coming up tonight at 5:30 and 6, and also on WTVR.com. Reporting live from Lawrenceville outside St. Paul's College, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
CBS 6 first told you about the arrest of Darnisha Berry. Lawrenceville police say she was the college girl who delivered twin babies, killed them, and then threw them down a trash chute 15 years ago. Today, CBS 6's Wayne Koval went to learn more about Berry and this cold case that now appears to be solved. Wayne?
Well, Julie and Lorenzo, it's been 24 hours since Lawrenceville police made an arrest in a 15-year-old cold case that took place in a St. Paul's College dorm. Today, just like 15 years ago, people living and working in the area tell me they're shocked by the developments.
I mean, they were 2 innocent babies that, you know, deserved a chance to live.
At Marquette's Hair Designing,
It's just sad. It's a sad situation.
today, just like 15 years ago, the death of the twins is what people are talking about.
I just thought it was really sad. I just wonder what was going through the mother's mind.
Word of an arrest in the 15-year-old cold case brought out a decade of haunting memories and mixed emotions.
I do think she needs to be punished, but at the same time, my heart goes out to the children or child that she has, you know, that they're going to lose that mother, you know, their mother. I was kind of happy that they got her, but then I felt sorry, like, you know, she has a husband, she has a child, and, you know, it's just a family going to be torn apart.
Across town.
Well, I'm glad the children, the babies, got justice, but then in another way I feel for her children that she has now, and that their mom may not be around.
Most agree the mother, Darnisha Berry, facing 2 counts of first-degree murder, needs to be punished, and most are glad the police never gave up.
I was very happy that they finally had caught the person and that they stayed on the case and that justice was finally served for those two babies.
Darnisha Berry is due in court next week for her first appearance. For now, she's behind bars being held without bond. Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
Great to see you. I'm Lorenzo Hall. We begin tonight with an update to a story you saw first right here on CBS 6. It's a story about a case that has haunted investigators for 15 years. Twin newborn babies found dead inside a Virginia college dorm.
Tonight, we're learning more about the former daycare worker arrested in this cold case. Chelsea Rarick is just back from King William, where Darnisha Berry grew up, to tell us how that small community is taking the news. Chelsea?
Yeah, Bill, those who live in the area tell me they're still wrapping their heads around all of this. I talked to a woman who says she was childhood friends with Berry growing up. She says it's been a few years since she's seen her, but tells me Berry was never someone to get into trouble. This is the Darnisha Berry that Keisha remembers.
Growing up with her, she was very sweet, very mild-spoken.
Pictured here in this 1995 yearbook, a junior in high school. Keisha, who didn't want to show her face on camera, says Berry was a childhood friend of hers.
I knew her from school. We did sleepovers together. We hung out together.
Growing up here in their hometown of King William County. But on Tuesday, Keisha says news regarding Darnisha has stunned her and others who know her.
It's heart-wrenching. It hasn't set well with me since I heard it.
Darnisha Berry was arrested and charged on 2 counts of first-degree murder. The charges stemming from a 1998 cold case where investigators say they believe Berry was the mother of 2 newborn babies found in a Virginia college dorm room, killed and thrown down a trash chute.
What happened? Did she snap? What, state of shock. Having kids and then to live with it for 15 years.
Keisha says Berry never came off to her as a troubled person, but says growing up her mother was selective of who she could hang out with.
I just think that she didn't want her mother to know, and she panicked.
Along with the arrest, it's confirmed Berry was an employee at this child time in Mechanicsville. The director of corporate communications confirming she worked there for less than 2 years, leaving the job last July.
That's crazy to even think about.
As a mother herself, Keisha says the whole situation has left a lot of questions about her old friend.
I just can't get it out of my head. It's just not the person. The person doesn't fit the crime.
Now, the spokesperson for Child Time also says they take their responsibility as caregivers very seriously. She says it's shocking hearing these charges, and when employed there, she says Berry had no known criminal background. So